How would you have felt as a diehard Clipper fan that this season would have been canceled due to social justice, not COVID? What do you think?
I would have been totally okay with it. You know, this is hard, man. You know, I sit here and, you know, I do the social media, so I have to read everything that comes in, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, you know, fortunately for our show, we don't get a ton of hate like I see a lot of the other shows get.
Even when I'm not sticking to sports?
Even when you're not sticking to sports. But there, you know, there is some stuff that comes through, and I see it all, and it really just makes me shake my head about, you know, the things that go on here. You know, you read these comments from people, and they're always like, well, if you didn't do anything wrong, then you wouldn't get bothered by the cops. If you just listened, then nothing would happen to you. And, you know, it's kind of funny to me because there was a time in my life when I first moved to L.A. It was a Monday night. I'm walking to the bar, La Poubelle in Hollywood. And I'm on my street. And I'm walking up the street, and a cop rolls up on me. Not like crept up, like pulls up, bam, lights, questioning me. What are you doing? Where are you going? Blah, blah. Told him I'm going to the bar. Not doing anything. Okay, well, they were like, well, you're dressed in all black and it's dark, so we just want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, all right, cool, I appreciate that. It's a little weird to me. 2 days later, I'm walking home. 2 days later, from the same bar.
Right.
I'm one apartment from mine. 5 cop cars roll up on me. Lights flashing, guns drawn. Stop where you are, put your hands up. It's midnight. I don't know what's going on. It's dark. Am I afraid? Yeah, there's 5 cops. I get handcuffed. And they're telling me that there were reports of a male that looked like me breaking into houses on that street. I don't know what more nothing I could have been doing to these people that say if you don't do anything wrong, it won't happen to you. I'm walking down the street by myself. I could not be doing anything less than that. Mm-hmm. And it happened. Now, I'm a pretty level-headed individual, you know, I'm somewhat educated. I was able to keep...
By the way, you're a tremendous slouch if that's what you're actually trying to understate yourself here,
I'm just
TJ.
saying, you know, I was able to keep my cool and my calm in that situation, even though I was beyond heated.
Right.
I was beyond heated when they found or they let me go, and the officer took my ID and instead of handing it back to me, just threw it on the ground at my feet. I also realized that I was able to conduct myself in a way that allowed me to make it into my apartment. Someone else that didn't have my background or didn't have my level of restraint, that could have ended a totally different way. So when I see people saying if you don't do anything, you won't get bothered, it kind of just makes me laugh, and it kind of makes me shake my head. And again, this isn't, I'm not trying to indict all officers. You know, I have officers in my family. Right. But it just seems like as a black male, you have to be almost perfect, because no matter what happens, people are going to be, well, they're going to try to bring up your past as if what you did in the past makes it okay for you to be gunned down in the street, you know. And it's hard to sit and watch, you know. And I'm trying to, like, there's so much I want to say right now, but I don't want to put you in a bad spot. Well, I don't want to put the show in a bad spot. I'll just say that it's tough to sit and constantly watch when you also see things like movie murders, people going into movies, gunning down people going to churches and synagogues, and they're able to walk away in handcuffs. But you got a guy who's getting his neck knelt on. You got a guy who could be reaching for something, but we don't know, get shot in the back. And there's so many people on social media right now saying that it was justified. And I can't wrap my mind around that type of thinking.
Well, in terms of the social media, as we established before, and that's the problem with social media, is, again, that people with lots of followers are called influencers, because we feel that anybody could tweet something and they influence something. So when you see somebody tweeting something, you feel like they could be influencing somebody. Mm-hmm. Also, just know that there are some people who are trying to influence people by having the same thing tweeted by a bunch of people who don't really exist, to make people like you think that you have no say in things because you're outnumbered. Yeah. So I know, again, your job as social media, so you see all that. I hear what you have to say, and I just want to come up and give you a hug, and hear what you have to say, and it I asked it of you in terms of a sports question, which is kind of silly to say what would you but then I hear Emmanuel Sanders say that we weren't gonna they did you hear what he basically said? He didn't think that they'd be canceling any games if they were in the NFL right now. But the interesting thing is that Emmanuel Sanders saying what he had to say, even if he wasn't going to boycott or strike, in the same with the NBA, that the NBA, by not playing, brings enough attention to these subject matters than, say, your story you just told. And your story you just told only gains attention of everybody is if it ends in the most unfortunate manner.
Yeah. And,
right.
And it sucks because I oftentimes wonder, I know the type of person I am, and I wonder if something like that happened to me, right? How would I be portrayed in the media? Like what would they try to say about me that would make it justified for that to happen? And it's crazy. There's things that I have to worry about that Chris and Mike and you don't have to worry about.
That's a fact.
For example, Chris and I were talking a few months ago, and I asked him, Chris, what do you do when you get ready to drive somewhere? And your answer was?
I get in my car and drive.
Okay. And I said, do you know what I got to do, man? I have to make sure every time I get in my car that my wallet is out on my passenger seat. I got to make sure that my insurance, all my paperwork is right next to me, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be afforded the same leeway of rummaging through something to get my stuff as maybe you guys would be. And it sucks, but that's the reality I live in. So when you go in and you read these people saying this stuff, it's like, man, I don't want to say it's hurtful, but it is kind of
hurtful. But what I'm saying is, and again, this may be...
Maybe I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry, but I've been internalizing this for a long time, man. And
TJ, you're part of the show and the crew and the family, and you got the microphone in front of you. And again, you are a person of color who has experiences that we have no earthly idea how we would deal with it. And so until we are made to think about it.
Yeah.
And so again, though, when you're telling what you're saying to us, and I'm hearing it, and you say what other people are saying, and this may be pie in the sky. When I see stuff that people send to me, and it could be pretty nasty.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they're real or not. And I see it. Number of times that my wife's like, you should go back.
Right.
Like, don't do that. And I basically, and I have that desire.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to engage someone who I don't know if they're real and seriously, clearly does not have your best interest in mind.
You're very right about that.
You know what? But again, that may be sticking your head in the sand or ignorant. I don't know. But I'm just saying to you that if that makes you feel less than, there's enough people in this world who aren't putting 280 characters of hate or less in front of you who feel that you are more than or equal than. And you're surrounded by them every day.
Yeah, true.
My default is to try and make people feel better, or I don't know if that means a damn thing, because when you drive home, you need to do what you have to do, and I don't have to do that. I can go into my glove compartment.
Yeah,
Even though I don't keep gloves there and never have. But you know what I'm saying? I mean,
you said something about making people feel better. And that's another thing, because of my size, I'm 6'3". I was 250 pre-quarantine. I don't know where I'm at right now. But I've got 21 years of dreads and a beard. I spend so much time trying to make people around me comfortable, whether it's the lady in the elevator. I'm going to, hold the door open and smile. And, everything I do, because I know how I may be perceived, I try to go out of my way to always make someone else feel comfortable because of, you know, a predisposed notion that they might have about someone that looks like me. And it just gets tough because it's like I'm always trying to justify my existence to someone else. And, you know, that kind of sucks after a while, you know. But so to answer your question, how did I feel about the basketball getting canceled? I had no problem with it because it seems like there's a lot of people out there that love sports and hate the athletes that play it. And, you know, I don't know, man. It's